If you have $5,000, $10,000, $50,000, or $100,000 sitting in your bank account right now, you are already ahead of most Singaporeans. But here is the uncomfortable reality. That money is losing value while you sleep. Not dramatically, not overnight, but slowly and consistently. Singapore's core inflation is running at around 2% annually, and the average savings account without conditions pays you almost nothing. So every month you leave money parked in the wrong place, you are paying an invisible tax. Here is what makes 2026 different. The Singapore overnight rate average, the benchmark that underpins most home loans, has eased to around 1%. Savings account rates at the major banks have been cut multiple times since the global rate cycle turned in late 2024. At the same time, credit card rollover debt in Singapore hit $9.07 billion in the third quarter of 2025, the highest level in over a decade, with banks charging between 25% and 30% annual interest on that balance. The rules have changed. Cash still pays you something, but not as much. Debt costs you more than most people realize, and investing wisely has never been more structurally advantageous for Singaporeans because of one fact that most people take for granted. There is no capital gains tax here. None. Every dollar you have needs a specific job. That job depends entirely on how much you have and how long you can leave it alone. Let me walk you through all four tiers. $5,000. This is the entry point, and the mistake most people make at this level is treating it like investment capital, when it is actually protection capital. The first job of $5,000 is to start an emergency fund. A single Singaporean living modestly spends around $2,500 a month. 3 months of safety costs $7,500. $5,000 gets you 2/3 of the way there. That is the goal. Not ETFs, not REITs, not anything exciting. A liquid, accessible emergency fund parked somewhere that earns you something while you build toward the full 3 months. For pure simplicity at this tier, the UOB stash account pays 2% annually with no salary credit requirement and no card spend condition. You maintain or grow your balance month on month, and the interest arrives automatically. No hoops, no forgetting to transact, no rate tier surprises. If you already bank with DBS and are under 29 years old, the DBS multiplier earns 1.5% on the first 50,000 with just a DBS or POSB credit or PayLah retail spend, without needing salary credit. Both accounts protect up to $100,000 per depositor under the Singapore Deposit Insurance Corporation scheme. If you have a credit card balance rolling at 27%, stop reading about interest rates on savings accounts. Pay off the card first. The guaranteed return on eliminating 27% interest debt is the single best investment available to any Singaporean in 2026. It is not close. $10,000 is where the real decision starts. You are no longer just protecting yourself. You are choosing how to begin building something. But first, the same hierarchy applies. Emergency fund covered. High interest debt eliminated. Only then do you deploy the rest. With what remains after those two obligations, you now have access to Singapore's most powerful and underappreciated low-risk instruments. The 6-month Singapore Government Treasury Bill, issued on the 23rd of June 2026, cut off at a yield of 1.47%, fully backed by the Singapore government with zero credit risk. Minimum investment is $1,000. You can apply through DBS, OCBC, or UOB Internet Banking, and your money returns to you with interest in exactly 6 months. No conditions, no salary crediting, no product bundles. Singapore savings bonds are the alternative for anyone who wants a longer horizon with full flexibility. The July 2026 issuance offers 1.46% in year 1, rising to a 10-year average return of 2.11% annually. The critical feature is that you can redeem your Singapore savings bond in any month with no penalty and no capital loss. Your principal comes back to you with accrued interest by the 2nd business day of the following month. Minimum investment is $500. Maximum is $200,000 per individual. You apply through your CDP account via DBS, OCBC, or UOB, or through your SRS account if you hold one. And here is the first moment to start thinking about your CPF ordinary account differently. It earns a guaranteed 2.5% annually. that is already above the current 6-month T-bill yield. If you have been moving CPF savings into the CPF investment scheme to chase higher returns, know that you are giving up a government-guaranteed 2.5% floor for market risk. For conservative capital at this level, the CPF OA is quietly one of the strongest safe yields available in Singapore right now. The first equity investment at this tier is straightforward. Open a brokerage account with Interactive Brokers, Moomoo, or Tiger Brokers, and buy one board lot of the Nikko AMSTI ETF, ticker ES3. One board lot is 100 units at approximately $3.30 per unit. That is $330 of exposure to Singapore's 30 largest companies with quarterly dividends. It is CPF ERS eligible if you want to invest OA money later. But if you want global exposure, here is the most important tax distinction Singaporean investors almost always miss. Do not buy VOO or SPY, the popular US-listed S&P 500 ETFs, as your primary long-term holding. Dividends from US-domiciled ETFs like VOO are subject to 30% US withholding tax for non-US investors. And if your US citus assets ever exceed $60,000, your estate could face US estate tax of up to 40%. Instead, buy CSPX, the iShares Core S&P 500 UCITS ETF listed on the London Stock Exchange with a total expense ratio of 0.07%. It tracks the same S&P 500 index but is domiciled in Ireland. Under the Ireland-US tax treaty, dividends are taxed at 15% at the fund level rather than 30%. No US estate tax exposure. Same index, better tax structure. The difference compounds to real money over decades. $50,000. At this amount, you are building real momentum. And most Singaporeans get one of two things wrong here. Either they freeze entirely, leaving all $50,000 in a savings account for years, or they dump it into a single property counter, a REIT their friend recommended, or a crypto position because something is moving. Both mistakes come from skipping one honest question. What is this money actually for, and when do you need it? If the money is earmarked within 3 years, meaning a BTO flat, a wedding, a business launch, or a family emergency buffer, the share market is the wrong place for it. A market drawdown 1 year before you need the money forces you to sell at a loss or delay the plan. For this scenario, Singapore savings bonds are the best answer. 2.11% annually on average, redeemable any month with no penalty. If you want a slightly higher rate for a specific window, Maybank's promotional fixed deposit offered 1.45% for a 9 or 12-month tenure on fresh funds as of June 2026. SIFE Cash Plus Guaranteed offers up to 3.5% as a promotional cash management product, though rates on managed cash products fluctuate. If the money is not needed for at least 5 to 7 years, this is where the real wealth building begins. Take that $50,000 and split it deliberately. $30,000 to $35,000 goes into a globally diversified ETF, specifically VWRA, the Vanguard FTSE All-World UCITS ETF, listed on the London Stock Exchange, with a total expense ratio of 0.22%, covering over 3,700 companies across 66 countries. Do not invest it all at once. Break it into 6 to 12 monthly purchases to average your entry price across different market conditions. The remaining $15,000 to $20,000 sits in Singapore savings bonds as your buffer, earning 2.11% with monthly flexibility. At $50,000, you also need to look at Singapore REITs seriously as an income engine. The average S-REIT dividend yield across the sector sits at approximately 5.9 to 6% as of June 2026, based on Reuters and SGX data, compared to the 10-year Singapore government bond yield of around 2%. That spread of roughly 4 percentage points is the income premium you are collecting for taking on equity risk. The IH S-REIT Leaders ETF, listed on SGX, gives you diversified exposure to Singapore's largest REITs, with a forward dividend yield of 5.74% as of April 2026. It trades like a stock and pays quarterly distributions. Singapore REITs are required by law to distribute at least 90% of their taxable income to unit holders to maintain tax-exempt status, which makes the income stream structurally consistent. If you are a working Singaporean with salary income, $50,000 is also the threshold at which you should seriously open a supplementary retirement scheme account and start contributing. Citizens and permanent residents can contribute up to $15,300 per year. Every dollar contributed reduces your chargeable income at your marginal tax rate. On a $60,000 income, your marginal rate is 11.5%. Contributing $15,300 saves you roughly $1,760 in income tax immediately, while the money grows tax-free inside the SRS account and can be invested in stocks, ETFs, REITs, or Singapore savings bonds within the account. Withdrawing after statutory retirement age also attracts only 50% income inclusion, reducing your effective tax rate further. And if you have an outstanding HDB loan at a concessionary rate of 2.6%, every dollar you prepay is earning you a guaranteed 2.6% return, tax-free. That is not spectacular, but it beats the current T-bill yield and beats most fixed deposits on the market right now, with zero risk. $100,000. At this level, structure matters more than any individual asset you choose. Research from Vanguard consistently shows that roughly 90% of long-term portfolio returns are explained by asset allocation, meaning the split between growth assets, income assets, and cash, not by which specific stocks or funds you picked within each category. At $100,000, getting the allocation wrong costs you far more than picking the second best ETF. Map your $100,000 against 3 time horizons before deploying a single dollar. Keep $15,000 to $20,000 in liquid cash across 2 different banks. The Singapore Deposit Insurance Corporation guarantees up to $100,000 per depositor per bank. If you hold everything at one bank and cross the threshold, the excess is uninsured. Splitting across DBS and OCBC, for example, gives you full protection on $200,000 total. For the medium-term allocation of $30,000 to $40,000, deploy into a mix of Singapore savings bonds, Singapore REITs through the iEdge ETF, and a conservative allocation to CSPX. This layer grows without exposing all your capital to a sharp market drawdown right when you might need it. For the long-term slice of $40,000 to $50,000, this is the engine. Dollar cost average into CSPX and VWRA over 12 months through interactive brokers, which offer some of the tightest currency conversion spreads available in Singapore, making the SGD to USD or GBP conversion cost significantly less than through a local bank brokerage. VWRA delivered 24.62% over 1 year and 11.74% annualized over 5 years to February 2026. Compound that over 20 years without interruption and the outcome is transformational. At $100,000, also look seriously at topping up your CPF retirement account to the enhanced retirement sum of $440,800 if you have not already done so. Every dollar in your retirement account earns 4% guaranteed annually, completely risk-free, funded by the Singapore government. The retirement sum topping up scheme gives you up to $8,000 per year in income tax relief for doing it. That combination, guaranteed 4% plus immediate tax savings at your marginal rate, is structurally better than almost any bond or fixed deposit available anywhere on the Singapore market in 2026. And finally, if you are using an active fund manager charging 1% annually on your $100,000 portfolio, understand what that fee compounds to over time. A 1% annual fee difference over 25 years erodes approximately $70,000 of your final balance compared to a low-cost index ETF charging 0.07%. You are not paying for alpha, you are paying for the manager's office. CSPX at 0.07% and VWRA at 0.22% give you the full market return minus almost nothing. Here is what the Singaporeans who quietly build serious wealth actually do. They clear high-interest debt first, without exception. They build an emergency fund before they invest a dollar. They use the tax system exactly as it was designed. CPF top-ups for guaranteed 4%, SRS contributions for immediate tax relief, and Irish-domiciled ETFs to avoid US withholding tax and estate tax exposure. They keep costs as low as possible, and they stay invested through every market dip, every property cooling measure, and every alarming news cycle without selling. The starting amount matters less than you think. The system you build around the money matters more than almost anything else. If this video helped you see your money differently, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I will see you in the next one.